There's no count. Sorry.
There's no count. There's a count, but there has to be a count. We have to do some.
There's no count. 5, 6, 7, 8.
Woo. Live from Salisbury, North Carolina. CY Wednesday Live, Wednesday Vibes. Well, I hope everyone is doing amazing and everybody's having a good day. Are you good?
I'm good.
Kristen wanted to get so close to me and stuff, and it's just I feel. But anyways, I hope everyone is doing awesome today. We have so many things that to be grateful for and to be thankful for. Today, I'm going to start with one. I'm thankful for my family, for my daughters, my granddaughter, and of course, be grateful for my beautiful wife and supporting what. What are you laughing for?
Go ahead.
You see,
I'm listening.
you see what I had to put up. My friend Alan, you know what I'm saying. But I'm thankful to be alive today and to be good with health. And what are you thankful for?
I was gonna say my beautiful husband. Sorry. Just life, family, friends, God's love. That's good.
You?
I'd say the same.
Yeah, beautiful
You're
husband.
beautiful.
I mean, whoa.
What? In the name of Jesus,
thankful.
Father God, we're gonna everybody. I want y'all to extend your hands. Okay.
I'm thankful for my singleness. For God just allowing me time, just time by myself.
Amen. Take advantage of it.
Really trust me. Yeah, take advantage of it.
I'm thankful for quiet time. It's really good.
You're thankful for that too.
And yeah, just Jesus, my family, and good health. So everything, thankful for it all. Amen.
Amen.
Praise God.
All right. Well, you know what? You guys at CY, all the students, all the hundreds and thousands of students that might be watching this, I want y'all to go ahead and send a message and tell us what you're thankful for today. There's so many things, you can be thankful for your parents. I am thankful for my parents as well. Be thankful that you have a roof over your head, you have food, you have water, electricity, you got hot water, which is a major commodity, here in the U.S., but in other third world countries, right, there's no hot water unless you boil the water and. But there's, it's high commodity, and then food, and then, just so many things that we got to be thankful for.
Chocolate milkshakes.
Yes, and a true, original hamburger.
Yeah.
I don't know why I always bring hamburger to as an example and stuff. But, it is just awesome to be able to just drive and be able to eat and stuff, and have the ability and the blessings to do so without anybody telling us not to or to do it. Yes, there's a whole bunch of things going on. Yes, there is a pandemic going on, but you know what? God is with us, and as long as He's with us, then we don't have to worry about a thing. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Don't you worry about it.
sorry, Alan, you're bringing that. She's bringing this on
She's
today.
got it. I'm going to hold it down. She's the OG.
Oh wow. Okay, well, guys, today we have a big guest that I invited.
Can't you see him?
Please say hello to the camera. No, don't be shy. That's what Rona has done to us, to our minds. Go ahead, Tom.
Right there.
No, hold on, Wilson. Wilson, but anyway, okay. But anyways, guys, we have a special guest. She is a honorary, long time, very, very, very old member of CY. Her name is Desiree. So make it.
Come on.
You gotta walk like the price is right. All right, so Miss Desiree, welcome. How you doing?
Good.
Tired?
Tired? What you been doing?
I just finished school.
Oh, okay. How was that?
It was good. I got all A's.
Oh, good job. Good job. So what was that, your first full year?
Yeah.
College, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
And the college still surviving and it's still standing.
Yeah, it's still there.
You know what? To God be the glory.
God's still working, so good.
You're still working with miracles. But anyways, we're glad that you're here.
Thank you.
And we're going to go ahead and let you know the way that this works. Basically, we just talk.
I'm about to say, we have like a structure or like.
No.
It's table talk, and here's the way it works. It's gonna be funny. It's all in here. No, I'm just messing. No. I planned this, but the thing about it is that I don't want them to go ahead and be prepared. I want them to just be spontaneous, and for them to go ahead and give me the answers that they have. Right? Be raw and be just real.
Not
So-
rehearsed.
And not rehearsed. So that's why, sometimes I'll give them and say, hey guys, listen, we're gonna talk a little bit about this. So they will have a little bit of idea, but sometimes I don't, because I really want to hear exactly what they want to say. So that way you guys can see the real truth about how they feel and what is, their experience. But before we start into the word, what do we have going on? What things? Well, actually, before we do that, who's
Right, I'm not really paying attention.
Really, you're not there?
My chat, I had no chat, and I'm like, man, nobody's chatting. And I just had to back it out and come back in. So we got Miss Andrea, Miss Leslie, of course, Desiree's mom's gonna be
Woo, Miss Leslie! Hey, share this. I know that you're Miss Social Media more than your daughter, so you do it.
Miss Betty, or Timmy or Diana,
Timmy.
Carson
Yeah.
and Hillary and Amy. Hi, Amy. Long time no see. Amy Davis. And
No, hold on, Tom. That's
yeah.
Allison and Alana. What's up, the twins?
It's the piece.
There you go. We miss you. We miss you. We miss you. So,
that's yay. Oh,
Listen.
and Gabby.
Hey, Gabby.
Gabby.
Hey, Gabby. We had a seat for you.
We
Wasn't sure if you were
Gabby's
coming.
doing cheer tryouts.
really
At home?
They had it. It's all they record themselves.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
okay. So
Go, Gabby.
She should be down for this. It's due Friday, so she should.
That's a good.
That's interesting.
That's a good idea. We should go ahead and do like the
So
trials.
tryouts and have the students submit it.
Ooh,
That could be a really
that'd be good.
good video.
Okay.
Get your pom-poms out.
There you go. There you go. So new thing. Here's what we're gonna do. You're gonna go ahead and send us a pre-recorded video of you playing Foursquare. So what you gotta do
Oh,
is go.
cheerleading. Come on.
I would win though if that was the case. I would.
How you gonna do the Foursquare?
Here, easy.
I don't.
Okay. Basically, you get close to a wall, get a ball, and then just put a line, and then just see
Yeah,
it.
as a parent and a homeowner, I'm gonna say no. Don't do that.
What's your suggestion?
I'm just saying. I mean, that could Carson.
Oh,
That could
Carson.
present problems,
Oh,
right? I'm just
Carson.
saying.
Don't do that again.
They're throwing you out there, Carson.
Yeah.
Carson, that was good. What's your idea?
I don't know how that would work. Isn't that when you get the ball and you hit it?
I thought you
Right,
said
I
that. I
just
thought you
think-
just said that you knew how to play. You want to win.
I was talking about the cheerleading.
We might have to,
That makes
we might have to
a little
work that
sense.
before we push it.
Okay, never mind.
Let's think this through. Let's think this through.
Yeah. Okay.
No hitting
We'll get
balls
back
yet
to
with
that.
balls.
For now, we're gonna be cheerleading. Get ready.
Everybody,
Yeah.
take a sec.
Go team.
Oh my word.
Alan's got a little too happy with his cheerleading video.
Well, you send me one, and I'm a judge.
I got you.
You
I
know
got
what?
I got my
That-
pom-poms in my closet. They're ready to come out.
Oh my word. No, students, we don't do that.
Wow.
Students,
We need Gabby's video to give us oh, this is how,
Yeah,
for
yes.
real. And then we could have people
We need to pray.
do their own version.
Oh my word. Father God. Okay, all right, moving forward.
Moving on.
Moving on. All right, anybody else?
No.
Can somebody send a message to Vern and Cody? They're late. Usually they're and then Madison, we're missing you. Ray, Daniel, Max, where?
Game night must have done Max in.
That's
Max
it.
was the host of our game night last night on Zoom. We put Max in charge. I think he felt a little pressure. So maybe he's just still recovering.
He's a leader. He was able to manage all of that and stuff, and without pulling anything from the past. And you know, I mean, he did an awesome job, and I'm so proud of Max.
Good job, Max.
Max
He
did
did
an
good.
awesome job, and I think, like I've said before, and I will continue to say it, I see so much potential in Max that, I mean, that was just natural for him. You know, he basically told me, hold on just a second, either you're leading or I'm leading. Excuse me. I was like,
He
yeah,
took it
Max.
very seriously.
Yeah. Who we're missing? We're missing Hunter. Hey, Hunter. Who else we're missing? Kira. Hope you see this video. Hey, guys, you know, just share this video with all of your friends. And also, big announcement, in the name of Jesus, everything comes out good with the paperwork. Well, not paperwork, but with the app. We're going to have this, and we're going to be streaming on different platforms next Wednesday.
Maybe.
Keep our fingers crossed.
We're gonna try our darn hardest.
Right. Right. All right. So,
Alan's feeling good tonight.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
Alan.
I don't know.
All right, so I'm gonna ask the same question. We got 2 minutes to answer the questions or less. So, what you been up to the last few days besides school?
Oh, I told you I'm making a YouTube. So I'll be making my intro for my YouTube.
And what do you know the name?
Okay, name of my YouTube?
Yeah.
It's just my first and last name.
Okay, what is it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's
What's
right,
your-
Ellis. I mean, except I haven't uploaded it yet, but I'm doing college vlogs, probably a little bit of hair, and just like advice and stuff like that.
Very nice.
Yeah.
What kind of advice can you do to? Can you give me
With his hair?
With my hair, little hair, no hair.
I can help you with the massage. Grow it back.
Go it back.
Ooh.
Yeah. Get you some oil or just massage.
Oh, no, but I don't want it right there. I want it right here.
Yeah, you can massage it all over.
Okay, so
You
just
know,
massage. You're gonna be massaging my hair. Chris, can you please massage? Yes, sir. Said to massage me.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay. What about you, ma'am?
What have I been up to?
And something
Working.
positive, something good.
It's all positive. I'm working. That is a huge positive.
Okay.
Working and cooking and crocheting.
Okay. All right. That's cool. That sounds like, you know.
I had a great weekend. It was Mother's Day weekend, so I got to spend time at my dad and stepmom's house and time at my mom's house. And, you know, I kind of got to pick a few things that I wanted to do because it was Mother's Day weekend. So that was nice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What about you?
Work. Still collecting wood pallets.
Alex, how's that going? Have you started actually building anything yet?
No. But I have 11 pallets now, so I'm proud of myself.
Ooh. So if anybody knows of any wooden pallets, please
Yes.
let Alan know.
Hit me up. And then I start school next week.
Hey.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
What classes?
Monday.
You know?
So I'm doing one that's like you have to do as a transfer student.
Yep.
It's easy. It's like an 8-week course. And then I'm doing intro to jazz.
Ooh.
So excited about that.
Okay.
Very cool.
I said to break last semester and I got in trouble.
You're not allowed to break. You're 21. 22, how old are you?
22.
22, yeah, you're not allowed breaks.
Mm.
You better get in now,
We're going back.
right?
That's right. That's
Don't
right.
break now.
Don't break down. Just keep on
This
moving
is the only
forward.
time you have breaks.
Right. So, something that I did this weekend was spoil my wife a little bit because it was Mother's Day. She is one of the coolest, craziest, more strictest mom that I know.
Great.
She's
Okay.
strict. She's strict. She's a strict mom. But anyways, we'll go ahead and talk about that some other time. But anyways, but it's okay. You know what? The reason that I bring it up is because I admire her and the way that she is. Just like some of you, probably admire your parents. I know you admire your mom. You know, they're fighters and you know.
In a good way.
In a good way, fighters in a good way. We're persistent against life, and we move forward in the name of Jesus. So it was a good weekend. It was a peaceful weekend.
A little cool.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this weekend.
Yeah.
That's really hot.
Yes, it's like in the 80s.
Sunday was awesome. Sunday was really, really cool. We had an awesome
Saturday
event.
was good too.
Yeah, Saturday. And I just want to invite everyone to come on Sunday. Come and hang out. We had
Drive-in
Church.
service.
yeah, sure.
Sorry. Think about the weather. I'm so sorry.
What did you say? I missed it.
Sunday, amazing church service. Get
Yes,
there, guys.
amazing church service. We got our music leader here, and then we have our cheerleader here, and then we have our CY leader here.
The dance leader, what
the-
happened to that?
Oh, I'm sorry, the dance leader
I'm
right
not a
here.
cheerleader.
Okay,
You can kind of say both.
you can still do.
Okay.
Give me a C. Give me
Give me a J E S S. Jesus.
There you go. In the name of Jesus. There you go. But anyways, all right. Well, we're gonna go ahead and jump into the subject. The subject is continuing with the lesson or the discussion that we have been having for the past 2 to 3 weeks, and that is influencing. I know that I've asked you before, but I'm gonna ask Mr. Soe, what is an influencer?
Influencer.
In social media terms?
It's Desiree.
Someone who influences.
Yeah, like they have an impact on you.
Okay.
Your life.
So, influencer on social media, they influence you, your life?
Mhm.
Okay.
And the way you do certain things or the way you react to certain things, and they sometimes change your behavior when it comes to certain things.
Okay, all right. Well, something that we were reading on our lesson, something that we were reading on, or I was reading on a lesson that we're studying this influencing lesson is that, you know, we go into the books of Acts. Okay, Acts is basically the story on how the church comes about to be together. And it talks about the day of Pentecost, and you know, it talks about how everybody came together for that day, and how God just manifested himself and just allowed his spirit to flow, and people were talking in tongues and stuff, and how you know, some of the people that were outside of the room were thinking that this that all the people that were praising God and seeking his presence, they thought that they were drunk, you know. And Peter, you know, let's talk a little bit about Peter. Do you know what Peter was before Jesus started, before he followed Jesus?
You're a fisherman?
Okay, yeah. All right, anything
We'll go with
else?
that.
He was a fisherman, okay? What else is Peter known for before the day of Pentecost? Oh,
Yeah, like ask somebody else.
How you rejected Jesus.
there you go, there you
That's what
go.
you're looking for. So,
Yes.
I have another
Yeah,
answer, but I don't know if
no,
that's-
that is the answer. What is the other answer?
Oh, he's the first one to like really recognize Jesus as the Messiah.
Yeah.
Like, and then Jesus is like, well, I don't know if that's completely right, but Jesus is like,
Me too.
you'll get a rock. Or no, I'm saying this all
It's
wrong.
okay.
Peter is the one who cut off the soldier's ear.
Yeah, he did that too. He was an angry man.
Very passionate man.
Thank you.
How about
There's no
that?
angry,
Passionate.
passionate man. But see, the thing about it is that Peter became, he was a fisherman. All right, so a lot of times we think, like we were talking last week, we talk and we think that, okay, but it's just me. I don't got, like you said, you know, it's just me. I don't have the talents to be able to speak to other people. I don't have the talent to go ahead and preach the word or tell them about this, or tell my friends at school that, you know, Jesus is the way, Jesus is life, and, you know, you should repent and be baptized. I don't know. Well, first of all, you got to know that Jesus is the ultimate influencer. Okay, so before you think about social media and all this bunch of YouTube channels and Facebook pages and Snapchat pages and IG or Instagram pages and stuff, and people that influence on what to watch, what to wear, what to eat, you know, where to go. Before all of that happened, there was Jesus. Okay, and Jesus went, and look how smart he was. He went and said, okay, this is the way that it's going to work out. I'm going to pick a team. That team is going to be 12. out of those 12, I'm going to pick a group of people that's going to go ahead and do this, and then the other part is going to feel my testimony, or they're going to go ahead and talk about my testimony in the way that I walk this earth. But he didn't say nothing to them. He didn't say nothing to them. What he did, he showed them the way. All right, and he showed them by living an example life. Right? He showed them an example of what a Christian should be. Even though whenever they didn't believe themselves, he believed in them. Last week we talked about Philip, whenever the whole entire group is there, and Philip says, Jesus asked him, it's like, so what do you think that we should do? Philip is like, well, you're the Messiah, you're everything. You already know. But he was just testing them. And there's a lot of examples throughout the Bible where Jesus, tests or the disciples and stuff. And the thing about Peter is that whenever all of these people that's congregated outside of the room, Peter decides to stand up and say, okay, guys, okay, peoples, listen, they're not drunk. Okay, just because you're speaking in tongue and they're jumping and they're feeling some kind of way with the Spirit and the fire of God, they're not drunk. They're feeling the Spirit. So there was 120, right? In the upper room, all right, 120. So the Bible speaks that there is an additional amount of people because they see what is going on in the upper room. And once they got out of the upper room, they see all of this. And all of these people come to them, and Peter starts preaching. He starts talking to them and telling them, this is what's going on. Whenever I say preaching, he's influencing them and talking to them about God. All right, and I'm headed to a particular place with this. And once he started talking about it, 3,000 more people decide to go ahead and join, the movement. Okay, and that's where the church starts. Now, back in the day, they didn't call it church. They called it gatherings, right? So they gathered around and they heard the lessons, the teachings and stuff. And that was 2,000 years ago. How about we are in 2020 and the Bible is one of the best-selling books in the world. The ministry of Jesus Christ is all over the world. Why? Because there was somebody bold enough to believe that there was a Messiah, to believe that there was miracles, to believe that there was a Jesus, that there was a God, and he was able to spread the word. So whenever you as a student are in school or you got some of your friends and you're like, I don't know this way. Should I go talk to her and tell her? She's crying over there. What would you do?
I would go talk to her. Tell her. If she's upset, talk to the Lord about it. It's really one of the only people that can tell you the best, that can give you the best advice and the right thing to do. Is the Lord.
Exactly. So you have to be the example. Don't consider yourself, don't put yourself down. Listen, you are a beautiful person. You are a beautiful creation. Think about this, okay? God is perfect in all of his ways. So why would you consider yourself not good enough or that you're not perfect enough to be able to speak to somebody about God? The thing about it that you're doing is you're doubting his creation, his perfection. And we cannot doubt his perfection because he's perfect in all of his ways. So if you're perfect, then that means that you have been wired already years ago, centuries ago, to be able to pass his word around. So that's what the influence of Peter does when he gets up. He could have just stayed quiet again, like he did, and deny Jesus. But he decided to take a step. Now, you might say, but I'm not Peter. I didn't see him do it. You are alive today. You're watching us through, YouTube, through social media. You're able to breathe. That's a miracle that you should go ahead and have faith on, and know that that's a miracle from God. So you are a witness of God, of what God can do in your life. What do y'all think?
I think it's good. I mean, one of the things I have to remind myself, talk about, he's perfect in all his ways. At the same time, he created me and he knows my life all the way to the end. So he already knows everything about me. He knows every mistake I'm going to make that I haven't made yet, that I will make. Everything that I have made, but yet he still called me. And he still has, purpose for my life. And so sometimes it's easy to be like, I was raised in church. And so sometimes people raised in religion, you get very, like, I'm not good enough because you fail or because you make a mistake. But we have that so wrong and twisted that not that it gives us okay to go out and just openly, do things intentionally, but we're not perfect and we're going to fail and we're going to make mistakes. That doesn't disqualify us from God's purpose for our life. And so that's just what I do when I mess up. I'm like, okay, I got to pick myself up. No, I didn't know I was going to do that, but God knew I was going to do that.
Right.
And so, and it's okay. He still loves me. I still have purpose in my life and still, I do what I got to do. So.
That's good. What about you, Mrs. Roy? What do you think?
Well, with the part about you saying you don't feel like you're good enough and stuff like that, and that's understandable with today's time, like our generation today, because there's so many, I don't want to say criteria, but there's like a standard that everybody is forced to live up to. But then, like when you come to church and you like at youth and you form a family with people that believe in God and they're able to just be themselves here that we do at CY. It's just it's a different vibe, and it shows you like, okay, I don't have to live up to these standards that the society or that social media makes me live up to. And I had to learn that personally, like being as young as I am. It's just, especially at school, it's so hard to not want to do what everybody else is doing. And that's one thing, like with being a leader, a youth leader, and being a follower of Christ, you have to learn that it's okay to be different, and it's okay to want to know who Jesus is and be a part of the church. And I mean, it's okay, and it's different, but I mean, it's okay. It's the right thing to do.
That's good. And we're proud of you for that.
Thank you.
Great job. What do you think?
Just to kind of piggyback on the part of not feeling good enough, I guess. Which we could look at Peter, who obviously we know rejected Jesus 3 times.
3
And
times.
was like, I think, I might be wrong, but I think the Bible may have said Jesus like went to him in person and like just because he thought there's no coming back from this, I guess. And so, oh yeah, because it talks about how he was fishing and then he like ran to the shore to see Jesus. But even him, as much as he messed up, he pretty much was just like, nah, I don't know Jesus. I ain't cool with him. I've never met him in my life. And so, but even him, like being that messed up, he was able to come back and like influence so many other people. And so like, and I think how Acts 2 talks about how there was there was one sound, like his influence was able to also create unity in the room, which I find is really cool. Like just from him influencing everybody else, it helped everyone to come together and create that community that allowed God to move and work in that room and release his Holy Spirit to everybody there. And so even though we mess up, we can still come back and influence others in a great way.
I thought of something else when Alan was talking. Peter, he denied Jesus 3 times, but after Jesus died and rose again, Jesus came back and he was talking to or about Peter. He said, upon this rock, I will build my church. So he referred to Peter as a rock.
Right.
And so basically like Peter's sitting there knowing what he just did a few days ago. So we can sit there like thinking like, man, I just royally messed up. Like, wow. But it was almost like God came back or Jesus came back, just be like to like let Peter know like, it's good. I got you.
Right.
It's all right. I forgive you. Because because of you, my church will be built.
Exactly.
Basically, so kind of cool.
Exactly. And you know what? Everything after that gathering, that happened on Pentecost, there is a key word that followed. And you were mentioning about, it created a bond, and that is called love. All right. The love that they all had together. It talks in the Bible that they went out to eat together. They did gatherings together. They went to sit at somebody's house and they ate. And, if you have never been in church, Um, church people, what they do is whenever service is over, they congregate. We go to some restaurant. Hey, where you going? Oh, you're going to that restaurant? Okay, hey, you understand? We're going in. Hey, you want to come to? We're going to that restaurant. Want to come? Hey, that's fine. That's what church people does. And right. And you know what? You would think, or your house, but just think about it. This doesn't happen. This didn't start now, or didn't start right now in this generation. It happened way back, way back with Peter. All right, and the day of Pentecost and all of that. That's when all of those invitations to the restaurants and to the houses. But you know what? What that was being called? It was called influence, and they were influencing each other. So that way they will have that aspect of loving others, regardless of how they look, where they came from. That's love, and that's influencing. And you know what? I commend you for what you just said. Yes, it is tough to be a youth leader and knowing that there's some stuff that probably at your age, other people, peer pressure, hey, let's go over here, let's go do this, let's go do that. For them, it might be normal, but for you, it's not normal. And you know the truth. And that's where people there is people that are watching you, and they know what you have said and what your testimony is. And one day they might come to you and say, listen, I have an issue today. I'm going through something. Can you pray for me? And that right there, student, is when you have done influence somebody, because the way that you have lived is the way that the world is going to see you. All right. So anybody else got anything to add?
I think Peter's life gives us all hope.
Yes. And you know what? I'm not perfect. As a youth leader, I'm very imperfect. I commit mistakes. I drop the ball, and I'm like, oh my goodness, why did I do this? And no, I'm not talking about, oh my goodness, I'm going out at 2:00 in the morning. No, not that. First of all, I'm too old for that.
Right.
9 o'clock, and I'm already like, I think it's time to go to sleep.
Not much longer from now.
Yeah. Now this guy right here, from my understanding, it's like 5 o'clock in the morning, and he's in
bed by then.
Yeah, he's just starting. I don't know about this already.
I'll give you a night out.
Really, Miss Leslie, is that true?
She's like, we're live. Mom is watching.
Miss Leslie, is that true? If
I'm
it
up
is,
sometime, like 3 o'clock at the latest for.
what?
Yeah, I only know those in PM.
Yeah.
I don't know those numbers in AM. Mm-mm.
I used to stay up just for the heck of it, just like, oh, I'm gonna watch TV, and I would rent DVDs and finish one movie,
Just
start the
for
other
rage.
one.
Yeah.
Rent
DVDs.
DVDs.
Well, I was gonna say VHS,
Ooh.
but I didn't want to say anything else.
They don't know what that is.
Grandpa, sorry.
But anyways, guys, it is an awesome opportunity for us to serve you, and I hope that with our lifestyle, the way that we live, the way that we carry ourselves, you can see that I'm a Christian, and what is a Christian? It's a person that loves God and knows that you're not perfect, and that's why you're trying. There's a lot of times that the world is going to come and try to knock you by. I thought that you say you were a Christian. Well, you know what? I thought that you were something else, but you're not, because you're judging me, but either way, that's another topic. Anyways, guys, we love you. Zoom has been off the hook. It has been really, really cool. We have had some serious conversations.
It has nothing to do with this.
Okay,
It's just you.
usually she laughs because either Vernon, Cody,
Vernon and
Nehemiah.
Cody is watching though.
Oh, they are?
Yes.
Twins, sorry.
Dude, you're gonna get them upset. We're missing Nehemiah. But either way, so we are planning to do something now that all of these regulations are being lifted. We're planning to go ahead and get together to find a way on how to maybe do a circle and just have
A youth drive-in.
yeah, there you go. We could do that. If you have any idea about that, just send us a message and we'll go from there, okay? All right, besides that, we have Zoom lessons on Friday. Please join us. If you need the code or you need the ID or whatever, just get in contact with one of us. And that should be it.
Bishop, we're going live at 9 o'clock. So
9
in
o'clock.
about 54 minutes. on Facebook.
54 minutes, and make sure that you go in and say, Marco, Alan, Kristen, and Desiree are the coolest CY leaders in the world. Woo, we love them. Just go in at 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock, they're going to go ahead and throw us. And then hashtag, what is it, Desiree Ellis.
Sorry. I didn't say anything.
I'm trying to give a promotional,
Yeah,
video for
yeah.
you.
Oh,
Stay on the YouTube
Stay on
page.
the
Y'all go
lookout
check
for
out
my
Desiree Ellis.
I thought I was doing it.
Oh,
Okay, go ahead.
Check out Desiree Ellis. She's,
Yeah, stay on the lookout. My
Cornerstone
first
first
video
cheerleader. Check her out.
is coming up soon. So yeah.
And one last thing, you did a song the other day for Mother's Day, on Mother's Day.
Oh,
Man, that was awesome.
thanks.
That was awesome.
Appreciate it.
All right, well, with this, we let you go so that way you can prepare. Huh?
Sunday.
Sunday, yeah.
You didn't say it. The theme. Family reunion.
Family reunion.
Go ahead, Alan.
Go ahead.
Family reunion this Sunday. Everybody come. If you can go anywhere else, you can come to church. So get your tail here.
I did.
Stay in your car or bring your chair.
Yes.
Either one.
There you go.
Whatever you're comfortable with.
All right, so we have our special guest, and our special guest is going to go ahead and dismiss us in prayer. All right, and that's the reason I have to tell anybody nothing. So that way,
Okay, that's
it's the pure
fine.
spirit of God coming out of you. Okay.
Okay.
All right, everybody, bow your heads and let's go ahead and pray together.
Father God, in the name of Jesus, Lord, we thank you for allowing all of us to be here today. We ask you to bless us as we're going through this pandemic right now, Lord. We just ask you, as we're going through this tough time, to allow all of us to be influencers upon the world, Lord. And we just ask you to allow us as youth leaders and upcoming youth leaders to just be workers for you, Lord. We just ask you to keep us safe, keep our city, our state, and our country safe, Lord. But we ask you to just keep us together through this time. And we ask you to bless us as we go home and bless everyone that's there home right now watching us. And keep us safe, Lord. And we thank you for everything you do for us. We ask you to forgive us if we ever take anything for granted. And we thank you, worship your name. Amen.
Amen.
All right, guys, so we'll go ahead and see you next Wednesday. If you
Hopefully
need-
on Sunday.
Right. If you need us, give us a call.
Hey.
Who are you
Nah,
gonna
send us a
call?
message.
See, sorry.
Bye, everybody.
You gotta say bye until they say